Hello, students. Welcome to week 6. Congratulations, you have made it to the final component of our summer course. We are now entering Unit 3, where we are going to be conducting research, using some new tools, and eventually creating your own podcast. So let's go ahead and begin with week 6. It's now July 6th through 12th. As you can see, there are many resources here in this readings and resources section for you. Now, as I mentioned, weeks 6, week 7, and week 8 are all in Unit 3 together. So don't worry if it feels like quite a lot of new learning is happening. We have plenty of time for you to learn these new ways of doing things and how to create a podcast. And you have plenty of time to create your drafts, polish your work, and be successful in this course. All right, so here we go. The survey and podcast assignment part 1, we have chunked this so that it's not too overwhelming. So every week you'll have some new items to do as it relates to this project. So we'll look at this just in a moment together. But first, let's look at these resources. First, we have creating a survey. So what is the topic of your podcast? Well, you are going to identify an issue, a problem, something you want to explore into a little bit more at the college level. It could be related to academics. It could be related to social life. It could be related to campus dining. Really, any kind of issue that you want to explore more into. Now, you will be creating a survey and you want to garner approximately 20 to 25 responses in that survey. So pick a topic that you know that you can get participants to take this survey. If it's too niche, for example, what do summer students think of something? Well, then you can only have access. Your participants would only be the summer students, and you might be a little hard pressed to get answers and responses from 20 to 25 summer school students. So think also in terms of an issue or a problem, but also the participants that you need to participate in your survey. So here, if you'll recall, in this semester, you've conducted primary research, as in you're the researcher, and secondary research, whereas you're pulling information that other people have discovered. So here, if you cannot guess, it's primary research again. You're the researcher. So you're going to create a survey about an issue, and we are going to use a tool called Qualtrics. So this is a robust survey tool used by researchers and publishers across the globe, and you have free access to it as a UNT student. So if you're not familiar with accessing Qualtrics, then here you go. Instructions can be found right here. Next, we have a couple resources about using Qualtrics. Now, it continually updates, just like every app, and Canvas, I've noticed here, has some updates just since I've seen you in week 5. So as we know, things are always updating. And so the survey questions and tutorial, there might be some minor differences. It's just always changing, but it's pretty intuitive. One tip I do want to give you about creating the survey questions is that thinking of skip logic. And what that means is, if you have a question, let's say, are you taking summer school classes? Yes or no. If the person answers no, then you can use skip logic to skip over a couple of questions about summer school, and that moves them on. So maybe questions 3, 4, and 5 are about summer school experiences. So in skip logic, if they answered no, you skip questions 3, 4, and 5, and the survey pushes that person to item number 6, or the next relevant question. So that's something that students often find helpful to use when creating their surveys. Okay, so this is all about creating surveys using Qualtrics. All right, the next thing we're going to do, of course, is analyzing the responses. So here are some tips for analyzing your survey. You can have a combination of qualitative and quantitative data. And finally, we are going to figure out, okay, now we have this research, we have this data. What do we do with it? We've written papers before, but now we're doing something a little different, and we're going to turn that data into a podcast, something that would be interesting for your peers. to hear about. So by the end of the week, you're going to submit, or by the middle of the week, rather, you'll submit that survey draft. So this is just to make sure that you're staying on track with learning how to use Qualtrics, identifying a problem, getting that draft going. And then by the end of the week, you will submit the final version of your survey, and you will take a few surveys of your peers, and that will jumpstart, of course, everyone getting replies. All right, so that's what's happening in week 6. Let's look here at the assignment part 1. And before we do, I just want to point out weeks 7 and 8 are fully published. So if you want to start working ahead, or even just to see, hey, what's coming up that will help me think better about part 1, to know what is in part 2, you can always look ahead in week 7 and week 8 because we are fully published out here. Very exciting. But here we are, survey and podcast assignment. Let's do part 1 together. So, as I mentioned, the goal of this assignment is many pronged, really. You're going to investigate issues, you are conducting primary research yourself, you are analyzing feedback, you're getting feedback, you are engaging your audience with results eventually, you are working through the planning stages and project management of a big project. You are going to learn a new podcasting tool as well next week. We're going to use Audacity for that. So this is a robust, assignment. You're going to learn a lot, but it's really fun. So make sure you're staying on track. So as I mentioned, the first topic or first thing you need to do is simply pick your topic. What is this issue that you want to learn more about at the college? And so here are a couple of examples. Next, you're going to create that survey and distribute the survey. Now, once you have a strong survey, like I said, you want 20 to 25 responses. So you are going to need to push this out in other ways than just our class. We do have many people in this class, but there just won't be enough for everyone to only take each other's surveys. So you'll need to network with friends, roommates, on social media, whatever it is, and push out your survey. Next, of course, you're going to analyze the data, and then we're going to be thinking about how can we create a podcast? How will that be interesting for my audience? What did I learn? Sometimes we might assume this problem or this is how people relate to the issue, and you might have new findings from your research here. So this is usually pretty exciting. Sometimes students pick parking, pretty much most of the time students pick parking. So I would encourage you to think outside of the box beyond just parking. Parking is pretty widely known a big pain at colleges. It was a million years ago when I was in undergraduate too. So that's kind of part of it. So, I mean, if you're just really want to talk more about parking, fantastic. But I've heard a million podcasts on parking already. So I'd encourage you to think of something new. It'd definitely be more interesting for me, for sure, and maybe for you too. All right, guys, so that is week 6. We are entering unit 3. As always, I have office hours available to meet with students on Zoom. So if you have any questions about unit 3, please let me know. And of course, if you just want to say hi and, visit and get to know me a little bit better, I'd love to get to know you. So I hope you're having a great week. I hope you had a wonderful 4th of July. And here we go, unit 3.